Well, hello, hello. Thank you for joining me today. I just want to make sure everyone can see me before I get rambling. Perfect. One more light. You've got about a 15-20 second delay today. So for those of you that are joining me, bear with me. I want to see if anybody's lost in Facebook land. I do not think so. Okay. Okay, so today I thank you for joining me. If you are here, there is a chat window open today. So if you have questions, I will be fielding some of those towards the end of my little ramble here. Okay, perfect. So today we're going to start. It's the VIBRATHON, and this is something I've been meaning to sort of return to as an idea for quite some time. Many of us using a vibration plate are using it for different reasons. Physically, we're starting perhaps in a different place. Some of you are using it for recovery or symptom management. Some of you are using it for exercise. All a vibration plate is an activity. It's a low impact activity. It's a tool that makes exercise positions easier, more effective, and in less time. And for many of you, with less effort. The big advantage, there I was looking a little crooked, that a vibration plate brings to the equation, for those of you dealing with chronic issues, or perhaps you're just dealing with a short-term setback, maybe an injury or a surgery recovery situation. A vibration plate makes movement possible. Where for many of you that are dealing with severe health issues, getting active, losing weight, getting stronger, working on bone density, moving lymph, increasing circulation, all these reasons you're seeking to use a vibration plate. I invite you today to put the manual aside, forget the settings, the studies, anything that you've read. And if you're not using your vibration plate regularly, just start experimenting with it. I'm going to give you some very short lessons on things that you can control and manipulate during your session. And 99% of it boils down to you as the user and your own individual preference. What feels good to you, what doesn't feel good to you. And that's something else that changes throughout the course of your life, depending on the body part that you're trying to target, whether you're dealing with deficiencies. So there's a whole kind of, series of ingredients that come into the mix. Many of you are looking for a set it and forget it approach. What button do I set to accomplish A, B, or C? I wish it was that simple, but I can assure you the sooner that you start, like I say, just spending some quality time on your device, regardless of what brand model you may be using, the more you're going to understand what feels good and, start moving forward in your health and fitness journey. So if anyone is watching me, please just drop me a comment and let me know that you can see and hear me okay on the other end. And if that's not the case, I will get into some technical. No. Okay. So what I have said for today, there's also a couple of giveaways. I'll just touch briefly on those. So for those of you that are joining me, to enter today's giveaways, and there's a couple of different ones. I am giving away at the end of all 3 sessions today a Hexaplate Light, generously donated by Life Pro. To enter, you need to be a resident and accepting delivery in Canada or the US. And I need you to make a comment during this or one of the upcoming lives or one of the recordings before tomorrow evening. I've got the details in the live. But tell me what would you use this thing for? What are the goals? What are you dealing with? What is interesting you about vibration plates? So that's what you need to do to qualify for that. I want to make sure I've got everything else here. Okay, we're going to get into the live. I can see things are working now. So yes, please make a comment. If for some reason you are joining me, I had someone ask me this morning, if you are joining me and you don't have a YouTube channel or for some reason you prefer not, you can email me vibehealer@gmail.com or send me a message privately through YouTube. That would probably be the most efficient way so you don't get lost in my junk mail. So if for some reason, I would prefer you make a comment. It's going to be easier for me to do the session draws. So at the end of each session, I am going to draw one winner at random for the free session with me. And all entries will be put in for the machine draw announced tomorrow on Monday afternoon. Actually, that one's going to be announced, but your entry needs to be in by tomorrow evening. Okay, so yes, perfect. I'm here. Hello, Linda. Hello, Monica. Marsol. I hope I'm saying that right. That's beautiful. Homati. Hello, everyone. Let me know why you would like to win the Hexaplate Light vibration plate from Life Pro and what you'd use it for if you did get it. So for today's session, we're going to get started. I am using a larger multi-moving plate. This is called a Rumlex. Many of you are familiar with it because I use it in a lot of my sessions. Regardless of what features your plate may offer, all of my sessions today will be an oscillating movement for a couple different reasons. Oscillating movement is the primary, the founding. It's what started it all. And every Life Pro model, with the exception of one of the new compacts, offers oscillating movement. It's more preferred by most users. It feels natural, very much like we're walking. And for anybody out there that's using, I'm just a little crooked, a plate, usually the default manual starting mode is oscillating. We're moving in this fashion right now. So I want you to think functional. So for those of you that are joining me for this first session, there are 3. The seated session is not necessarily, that there's anything wrong or you're dealing with anything, but it's just another way to use the vibration plate. For many of the people I'm working with, it's the only way that they can use it, or it's the way that they have to use it right now. Let me explain. Seated reduces the amount of body weight that you're incorporating into the plate. And for those of you that are unable to bear weight, or perhaps, you're just recovering from something and you're dealing with some fatigue, maybe you've got poor mobility and balance. So to get a little bit more machine time and a little bit more experimentation time, especially when you're starting out, it is absolutely fine to start seated in a chair. You can see in the mirror beside me. I'm going to have you guys keep my posture in check. I'm bad for doing this and slouching and leaning. So my mirror for you at home allows you to see, posture is something that kind of naturally improves using a vibration plate. And for those of you that want to improve the mobility, using it regularly is a great way to just gain some stability, boost some lymph, boost some circulation, boost some energy. So there's lots of different reasons you may use it seated. Maybe you just want to because it feels good. So today I'm working with my feet at a modest intensity. There's so much terminology out there in the marketing, but intensity and oscillating is a unique feature to this movement style. It also, to a degree, makes it a little bit more complicated to understand because there's a little bit more that you can control and manipulate. And we've all done it. If you're using the style plate, you put the feet wide and you're shaking more. That's max intensity. You bring your feet closer to the center. You're not moving as much. Now you've reduced intensity. So a lot of you say to me, oh, I want to use, for this, that, and the other thing. If you're dealing with chronic anything, pain, you're afraid, you're recovering, reduce intensity and complement it with a faster speed, mid. This is not a treadmill. Really slow speeds in oscillating movement are very choppy. They're very destabilizing. They have their place, but you're not going to see me use any low speeds until we get to the latter session today, advanced, when I get into some core exercises. The really slow speeds, frequencies in oscillating are destabilizing. And that's great if you're working on planks and crunches. But as far as improving balance, if you're not stable now, I don't want to destabilize you. So I don't recommend the slow speeds. They tend to be a little choppy, jarring. The body's got more time to guard and protect. So bring the speed up a bit, but you're only going to enjoy that experience if you learn you're in control with the feet. And any position where you feel it's too much, instead of default thinking, I got to turn the speed down or I got to use a slower program, bring the feet closer. If there's oscillating as part of the movement, and you'll feel the control that you have. And it's common for me to change depending on the type of exercise that I'm doing. So play with that seated long before you get into any of the standing stuff. As I said, it's kind of a just because. I know many of you are just getting started in your health journey. It's very easy to overdo it on a vibration plate. I'm going to ramble for a while today, but I recommend using your plate more often in shorter sessions throughout the course of the day. For the first week, even 2 weeks, just give your body a chance to get used to it. Learn what all the playing around feels like, the different speeds, and then get into something structured, a little bit more of a routine. And if the goals are fitness, if you got big weight loss, bone density, strength, power, your training, you have to put in exercises and effort appropriately aligned to the goals you're trying to accomplish. You cannot just sit or stand there and set the machine and wake up a size 2 tomorrow. There's a little bit more to it. Being consistent is key, and you are going to see some forever benefits, which I'll touch on very briefly before we get into some moves. So anytime you're using a vibration plate, in particular oscillating movement, because of its varying amplitude, not only does it have greater amplitude, it's got a lot more movement than other movement styles, such as vertical, pulsation, the up and down movement style. They move a lot more. So they tend to have lower frequencies, lower speed ranges, but you can combine the two to kind of tailor the exercise that you're doing. Faster isn't always better when it comes to a vibration plate. The performance characteristics between movement types really varies. That you can't compare them on a straight number of speed or amplitude. So my feet are hip width apart, and I am on this plate, it goes 60 speeds. I'm riding at about 25. So I'm almost in the mid-range. As I said, when you're first starting out, use it as needed. If you do have pain, lymphatic issues, it's making you feel good. Some of the forever benefits are going to be boosted circulation and lymphatic movement. It's a given. When you move, lymph move, circulation too. You're going to find just a general sense of relaxation. You're just going to feel better. A lot of times it just makes you feel good, if for any other reason. For those of you that are doing other therapies, exercising, because it's good at moving lymph and circulation, it's ideal as a warm-up, recovery, post-surgery, pre-surgery, whatever you need to prepare or recover the body from. A little machine time, 2 to 3 minutes, is going to be an awesome complement. So I've been sitting here this way for a little while. I've had an onslaught of questions this week about upper body. For those of you that are using your plate seated, I can't really get a lot of upper body, and I want to get some lymph and some circulation going. Whether the goals are fitness or not, if you're not exercising these areas now, get them used to the plate as well. But if you're unable to get down on the ground and do functional push-ups, 2 variations I'd like to show you to start seated. So we're getting that forever benefit of lymph and circulation. We're also boosting balance and stability. We're increasing cognitive impairment. Like, believe it or not, you feel smarter. You retain things. There's all kinds of cognitive studies out there. My arms are locked, and I'm sitting with a nice straight spine if you're posture checking me. And just by adding the hands to the knees, there's a resonance that vibration begins to transmit now up the arms. The elbows are feeling it, the shoulders. If once you add your arms, and this is particularly key to my ladies, any y'all dealing with like neck issues of any kind, shoulder, back, spine, head, teeth, eyeballs, bring the feet closer. Your heel, and where your heel point of contact hits the plate drives the amount of movement. So the closer your heels are to the center of the plate, the more you're reducing the intensity. So maybe when you're sitting like this, it's awesome and everything feels great. But if the sensitivity or the weakness maybe, or you're just out of shape and you're sensitive up here, if this is too much, bring those heels closer. Play with that. And sometimes it changes, once you've sat here for a minute or two, you feel loosened up, add some neck shoulder rolls, whatever you normally would do seated in a chair if you've been hunched over your computer too long. It's not rocket science. Maybe you want to do some shoulder rolls. I can hear some my daughter playing some dance tunes in the background and me playing to the beat of that. So whatever you would normally do to address tension in these areas, or you want to just boost the lymph and the circulation, add those hands to the knees and you're going to start getting very mild stimulation. For those of you that want a little bit more, you can widen the feet up a little bit more. Maybe you just want to take on a little bit more intensity, but you can get even more intense by coming up to the elbow. So unlike when you've got your hands on your knees, you've got the wrist joint, you've got the forearm, dampening that resonance to a degree. We're going to lean over. For those of you that are comfortable and able, just keep a nice relaxed position. Do not guard and protect and fight. That's just going to amplify the shake, people. Bring the feet closer again to start. See how it feels. Then you can decide. So come over, hang on to the hands, put the elbows on the knees, and you're going to feel it's much more direct into the top of the shoulders, back of the neck. Oh, I rambled 10 minutes already. I like this to get into the backs of my shoulder blades, the nape of my neck, kind of right up to where that bra strap's at. And you can manipulate a little bit where you feel it just by leaning forward, backward. Maybe you arch up like a cat a bit, go the other way, seated cat-cow, anyone? So I love doing this one, just sitting here, scrolling my feed, talking to a friend, my mom on the phone, just like we did with the hands. Experiment. If this is feeling good and the foot position's okay, great. If at this point it's feeling too intense, it's a little too strong yet, bring those heels closer. You decide on the fly what the intensity is. Even though it takes a little bit of understanding, it's one of the key advantages that oscillating movement brings into the equation. So now we're going to add some shoulder rolls, maybe some neck turns, pinch those shoulder blades together, arch up like a cat, whatever feels good. Just manipulate, and the more you move around and play with the angles of your position, the more you're going to feel it in different areas. And you can learn how to target and send it with whatever intensity feels good to the areas you're trying to target, okay? You might feel a little itchy on the nose or the ears. If you have any deficiencies, wherever they may be, please apply common sense. Be conservative in your time starting out. Just because it goes 10 minutes, it's only 10 minutes. That's max time setting, 2 to 3 minute intervals. See how you feel. I would prefer you use it 3-4 times that day, and as the symptoms, tend to return, versus one big long one. And of course, you have to fit it into your lifestyle. Maybe it's 5 minutes before you're heading out the door to work, or 5 minutes when you head home, from your date or the gym, whatever it may be. So you can break it into smaller, more digestible pieces. So let's do some actual exercises. And if you were to go onto the internet and Google seated yoga exercises, or seated strength exercises, or seated flexibility exercises, there's an unlimited abundance. But there's a couple of regulars that I like to do when I'm working with clients. I like to get some good tunes going, a slow beat in the background. The first one we're going to exercise is what I call foot pumps. I'm still working with a natural hip width apart. If at this point it's feeling a little too much or you want to take a break, please feel free to do so. Bring the feet closer if you like. But we're going to do a little bit of rocking motion, and you'll be able to see it better in my mirror. But we're going to come up on the toes and come back, lift the balls of the feet. We're up on the toes like you're doing a mini calf raise, and then into a little baby calf stretch. Okay, you want to make sure your legs are straight up and down. I'm on my swivel bar stool today. Something with a back for those of you that need a little support. In the next session, I'll show you how you can use this for beginning your standing exercises. I like something firm to hang on to, but I like the swivel and adjustable height because I do work with different sized bodies. But you want to be at least a 90-degree angle with the legs, no less. You know, you feel like you're downhill in a couch. Some of you do use it seated in a chair. Little, it depends on you. I'm 5'10", so my shins are a little longer, and I like having adjustability, but I want you at a good 90-degree angle where possible. So we're going to keep going with that movement, slow repetition. You know, this is a really good way to keep that mobility in the ankle, which contributes so much to your stability, your balance when you are on the ground, the gait. So let's, you know, those of you that, you know, earlier we were talking about adding a little bit more upper body. You know, there's certainly ways. I love incorporating different exercises. I'm all about reducing time. So when I do a 5-minute workout, you know, I like to combine other positions to some basic exercise to get more of a total body effect when you're using this seated or standing for that matter. So we're going to move on to a seated march. So a seated march is exactly as it sounds. We're going to start lifting the legs. If you've got hip issues, low back issues, you know, maybe you're not ready to completely lift all of your mass. Maybe you're just alternating heels and coming up on the toes. There's a different variation depending on you, okay? And pay attention to the hips on this one. Maybe you need to hang on to the sides of your stool for a little stability. I'm going to add some upper body natural arm movements. So if we were walking, right, when you move, lymph moves. So you want more upper body lymph movement, you want more chest and abdominal movement. Guess what? By adding the movement of your arms with the incorporated movement of your legs, all of a sudden I'm feeling my abs a little bit more. Why? Because they're required to stabilize your core in a different way. Not that this is easy after a while, but you can feel those upper abs almost engaged by adding the arm swings, okay? Maybe we're doing, you know, punches. Maybe we're doing arm raises. Whatever feels good, right? The whole point is I want you to experiment. The more you play around with some of the exercises that you probably already know how to do, or some of the exercises you're already supposed to be doing, you know, the plate just brings more muscle engagement, more benefit through that lymph, that circulation, more balance, more dynamic strength, or more dynamic power, strength, bone density long term. So, you know, and it's funner. I don't know what else to say. Instead of just sitting in your chair, this is just a great way to add more movement, more benefits. So we're going to move on now to a little bit of a strength exercise. I should have some Rasputin music going in the background. We're going to break this also into a 2-part move. We're going to do some leg lifts and some upper body arm twists with a little bit of a twist. So the lower half of the movement, I'm still at a mid-speed range. I'm still with my feet hip width apart. Remember, you're always in control in oscillating. Bring the feet closer if you want less intensity. Wider if you want more. If you need a break, please take a break at any time. So we're going to lift the legs one at a time. Any of the exercises I'm doing today as a starting point, you know, if you're not in the greatest of shape, 30 seconds to a minute per exercise, per side in this case. So we're going to start with leg lifts. Just extending the knee and locking it, if possible, out in front of you as much as you can. If that's a little too much on the hip for you at this point, you know, perhaps you've got a little bit of a bend, you can rest the hands on the hips or on the chair, just to sort of get a feel for this exercise. Then we're going to do the other one. Okay. Maybe you're doing a variation where we're pulling the toes towards us, and then we do a rotation where we're pointing. Maybe we're combining a couple. It really depends on where your current level of conditioning is, and things like that. So know your limits, but the more you play around, the more you kind of get into a groove of, it's not about doing all the moves all the time, but sometimes it is nice to add some variation. And as we get older, some simple stretching, a lot of these things are going to not only increase the effectiveness of our exercises, but they're going to reduce injury, the falls, all those other things we got to start thinking about. So let's get a little bit upper body movement going with that. So we're going to add the hands on the hips, and we're going to alternate sides with those leg lifts where we're turning just at the waist. I don't want you turning so that the leg position is being changed. I want you turning just as far as you can and looking the opposite direction. So we're going to look left, my left, your right, and we're going to hold 2, 3, relax. Then we're going to alternate the other side. 1, 2, 3, back to the center. So it's a little bit of a coordination test today. Let's add the legs into that. So we're going to lift this leg, move this arm. We're going to lift, turn, hold, 2, 3, back to the center. Other side, twist, hold, 2, 3, back to the center. Other side, twist, hold, 2, 3. It's kind of fun, okay? You're really going to notice, for some of you, a nice pull in the back of that calf and that hamstring. And if you are able and comfortable doing so, lifting a little bit higher is going to give you a nice hamstring calf stretch. For those of you that are dealing with sciatic issues, you're kind of doing a variation of what's called the nerve floss. Google that one. That's a great one to do on your plate as well. So how do we progress from here? So Debbie, I can't stand yet because I'm unable to bear weight for a bazillion different reasons that people can't bear weight, or maybe you're just dealing with fatigue. And, you can do some standing exercises, which I'll get into in the next session. But, you need to mix it up. And one, if you need to reduce the amount of time that you spend standing, you can do a combination of mixing it up with standing and seated exercises. So maybe you're doing, a lot of warm up and recovery type stuff seated, and then you're standing for a couple of squats or a couple of lunges or something more total bearing as far as your body mass. So let's get some, simple things that we can add in while we're seated. Many of you, as I say, I recognize are doing for symptom management. So, anytime that you're using the plate, you're boosting that lymph, you're moving that circulation. Why not add other things and just further enhance your outcomes, get more benefits, better results for what you're doing, especially if you've been doing the same type of self-care routine for some time. So I'm adding the swirl wheel, which is available on LifePro's website. There's 3 different sizes. You can also use just a kid's playground ball, 4 to 6 inches, deflate it a little bit. I am placing this just above my knees, holding it with my thighs. So while I'm sitting, I'm now forcing the inner and outer sides of those thighs to become a part of the equation to hold this in place. So what we're going to do here is we're going to resume, and we're going to try some calf raises with this between the legs. And what I'd like to do, because I don't want to be rambling all day, I'd really like to get to some questions. These are 2 5-pound ankle wrist weights that just came out with LifePro's new Flex Fest. I've been doing sessions on that the last few days on LifePro's channel. So what I've got here is a little combination to get myself to fatigue faster. I'm forcing my muscles to work harder. If my muscles are working harder and doing more than I normally require them to do, I'm going to build stronger muscles. I'm going to build stronger bones, because they're going to have to step up to the plate and fulfill what you're requiring them to do. So we're going to go calf raises with the lower body, and we're going to do bicep curls. I'm not strapping these on. I'm just holding them in my wrists or my hands. So we're going to curl down, curl. Oh, can I get a better hang on? Down. So if you have hand weights, these ankle weights are great. You can strap them on if you are dealing with grip and hand issues, strength issues, and you've got some arthritis and you know you got to get stronger, but hanging on to something is just not happening. These will strap to your wrists or to your ankles. 10 pounds for some people is too much. So if I've overcommitted you, hold one. Start with 5 pounds in one hand, or a bag of rice, or whatever you may have in the home. Just require the muscles to do more. Let's maybe do something a little different where we're raising up above the head, up, down. And let's maybe mix it up and do some pumps instead of just raises. Up, down, raise the toes, down, up on the toes, down. Maybe we're going to go side to side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we're going to turn. Hold it out in front of you. You're going to feel that core. Make sure the core is engaged. We got a good posture. Maybe we're just holding it statically out in front of us. All the while, the machine is adding all these additional benefits to what you're doing seated. You're only limited by your imagination and your range of motion. And I am there to fill in the blanks. So something else for those of you that are doing self-care. This is my last point on seated exercises today. I want to get to some questions, but many of you are doing self-care. And, I talk about it quite often, how a plate is such a great way to get more results in less time. And I know they're primarily marketed for the weight loss and the fitness and, detoxification and all these things that you see in the feeds. But they're also for those of you that are doing self-care is something we all should be doing. But for those of you that are required to do it as part of functioning in your day, many of you dealing with lymphedema, lipedema, you know who I'm talking to. You have to do all that care on top. Self-care is just for you as a person, but some of you have to do more for all this symptom management. So many of you are using compressions, you're using sauna blankets, but many of you are doing self-massage and using massage guns. And I literally just opened this yesterday. One of the ways I love to work, especially if maybe you've got MS or fibro and those legs are killing you at night, and you just want to get a little bit more benefit, to reduce the amount of treatment time, if you want to call it that, or session time, 2 to 3 minutes, and use your massage gun while you're sitting. Maybe you're incorporating other massage while you're seated on the plate. I want to get a little bit closer. For those of you that are therapists, you're running wellness businesses. The more that you can incorporate into that half hour to an hour treatment, the more services you can offer in that time. But the more benefits, the more optimal outcomes for your clients as well. And if there was one tool or one program that worked for every single person every time out there, wouldn't life be easier for folks like us? So this is a new tool. I have to show this off. I have to show two things closer to the camera. So, because this is already on the website, so I thought I better talk about this today. It's a new compact massage gun called the Spinergy. And guess what? It moves in a completely different way. So I want to get up close and see if you can see this. It spins around and around and around. Okay. So I would call this a horizontally moving, a swirl. I'm not sure what I'm calling this yet. But instead of, for those of you that are dealing with lymphatic issues, first of all, there are 6 different speeds. And the head, pops off. It's got a lithium battery. And there are 4 different heads, just like massage guns, but because of the circular motion versus the vertical movement, the swirling movement, it's a very different experience. This little kit comes with some lavender oil. It's got the charging cord, the ergonomics, the handle on this thing. Take a look at that. The grip is very interesting, and I find it, I have little hands, for those of you that have watched my massage gun tutorials, and I like things that go into little hands, but this is a game changer. I'm gonna, so you can see it. See, it's spinning in a circular motion. So one of the things when you're dealing with lymphatic issues, especially those of you that are dealing with lipedema and Derkham's disease, you bruise easily. This is all, you know what? There's lots of conditions where people bruise easily. And a lot of times with a massage gun where people are hurting themselves is because you think you need to drill it into your body and really you don't. So I'm always coaching in my massage gun sessions, just like a vibration plate, bring the speed up a little bit and let the gun do the work. Just let it skim the surface of your skin. That's what this thing does. So for those of you that have the strength and the grip issues, just like any massage gun I talk about, there's a really nice resonance just by hanging on to it. You're going to increase lymph circulation. A lot of people don't understand why their hands feel better after they've been playing with a massage gun, because of the resonance. You can feel and you're receiving vibration while you're hanging on to it. So that's how you begin using a massage gun if you have grip strength issues. Just like a massage gun or just like a vibration plate, I want you to bring the speed up a bit. Oh, I turned it off. Just wait. Whoops. So I play in the 3 to 4 range, and I've been just skimming across the surface of my skin. It feels wonderful. I don't know how else to, it feels completely different than any massage gun that I've ever tried. It's very quiet for the amount of energy that it's actually producing, but it's not so intense that I can't hang on to it, and it's flying all over the place. It's absolutely a game changer. Bravo, Life Pro. I'm going to turn this off. But I do like the idea for those of you that are spending, more time than you'd like to, or, you got something going on and you need to do some self-care time. Whatever it is that you do for self-care, whether it's dry brushing, maybe you're doing a sauna, whether you do exercise, a vibration plate coming into the equation is just going to further that lymphatic movement, that circulation, give you more benefits overall, while reducing the time that you have to spend exercising or doing the self-care. So I was very excited to show this today. I've got a little info video up. That is 33% off right now with Life Pro. And if you use my code Debbie20, you'll get an extra 20% off. So get on it. It's probably going to be gone. So I'm going to get talking here. I do have another session coming up at 6:30 p.m. time. So I would like to get to some questions. For those of you, as I said, that are here during this session, at the end of this session, my daughter's assisting me and she's doing the draw. She's writing names down into a fish bowl. We're old school homeschool. So make sure, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time while I get through some questions here, but 2 things that you're making a comment for during any of today's 3 lives. So if you make a comment during this session, I will be raffling away 1 personal virtual training session with me. And everyone who enters or makes a comment, tell me what you might do with a Hexaplate Light if you win one from Life Pro. So you need to be located in Canada or the USA and accept delivery in those locations to be entered for the machine giveaway. But anyone on the globe, as long as you have access to a computer and can do a Zoom call or Google Meet or FaceTime, whatever works best for you and your computer, I will be offering 1 session at the end of each live session here on YouTube today. So let's get to the top. I've said hello to a few of you. Hello, Beth. Hello, Monica. Monica's dealing with numbness and weakness from, you've got a bad tooth right now. I don't know if you've just gotten that dealt with. A lot of people, when you have teeth or ear or ocular issues, it's never a yes or no. Can I use a vibration plate? It's like I'm doing today. It's maybe modifying and using it in a seated fashion until it's okay to bear weight or stand. A lot of times when you're dealing with teeth or eye, it's the strenuous or the amount of effort that you need to, draw back on a little bit. And if you are a regular vibration plate user and you have, something crop up where maybe you've got a surgery or something you've got to recover from, always remember to reduce the intensity and the duration of your sessions. It's not about returning where you left off, if that makes any sense. And who else have we got here? So Linda wants to use it for weight loss. Hamadi has Durkheim's disease. Hey, Durkheim's disease. Hello. Thank you for showing up today. You know what? And because one thing I like to always say in my sessions, thank you for planting that. Durkheim's is a rare condition, but really not so rare. Is, a lot of times, you might be dealing with a diagnosis of some type, but symptoms are kind of universal. There's lots of conditions that have circulatory issues. There's lots of conditions that might develop neuropathy or balance and fall concerns. So, step away from the label sometimes when you're asking me questions. It's not the Durkheim's disease, because I understand Durkheim's disease. Oh, I can't wait to talk about what we do with some of those lymphomas with massage guns. But there's some real big renegades in my fat disorders group. And many of you have been working with some of these tools for a very, very long time. And the research just ain't catching up to some of the self-care tips and things you guys have just figured out on your own. But it does boil down, as always, to you guys being curious, experimenting, and just being consistent. And give these things a good chance. If you're trying a vibration plate or a gun or a sauna or any alternative therapy, exercise, give it 30 days. That's what you give it a bottle of pills. Don't just try it once and, leave it till the 29th day and throw it back in the box and return. Give it an honest chance, because it just may very well be, I'm a little biased, but I mean, it can be your symptom management and it can be your exercise. It just takes a little bit of time and experimentation. So dealing with the Durkheim's, that lymph, that circulation is going to be huge. You want that piece, but while you're doing the stuff, all the while you're building the strength, you're working on that bone density. And I have seen osteoporosis revert to osteopenia and revert back to regular, and then, well above and younger than where it should be. So consistency and weight bearing, even if you got to start seated, is really a key thing for those of you that are looking at that bone density piece. It's a longer term benefit, but the whole time you're working on the lymph and the feeling good stuff is all equating to those longer term benefits on the bones. She needs a smaller size plate to take with me. I need to use it daily. Well, that would be a fantastic reason to win the Hexaplate Lite. It's pretty itty bitty. And there's some pretty good deals going on right now, regardless, which I was going to be all organized and have all these comments, and I just didn't get to it. So I don't have an assistant today other than my daughter upstairs writing down the names for the draw. Hello, Lisa Lugo. A long time no see. So nice to see you. Linda Falela says she's 78, helps with low impact for me, and I can still sit. I do 10 minutes 2 times a day. Awesome. Love it. Lisa's 55. I know that you are using it. I've done an interview with Lisa on my page. She says, I'm 55 and I have been using my plate for 4 years for lipedema and general conditioning. And you've got some creative moves of your own. Hello, Care. How are you? Nice to see you. I have numbness in my feet, and I also developed lymphatic issues. Sometimes they kind of go hand in hand. Lack of flow, be that lymphatic or circulation, can contribute to that symptom. To me, neuropathy isn't its own label. It's a symptom of other things. The nerves aren't talking to each other anymore for some reason. Sometimes they're talking too loud and it's pain. And there's a bazillion different, variations of neuropathy. And sometimes it's in the hands, and that increase in circulation, that mild, absolutely controllable movement, you can really dial into what your tolerance is at any given moment. And that, for some of you that deal with good days and bad days, biggest lesson I can give you is that, wide feet is sometimes too much. Bring it closer. Especially when you're dealing with neuropathy. For a lot of my clients dealing with neuropathy, especially in the feet, hit the seated position for a good minute or two. Anytime you're going anywhere, you're going to be more stable. You're going to have more sensitivity. Your proprioception, all of it's just going to work better. They're that effective. And don't do too much. If you're looking for the energy burst and a boost in sensation, cognitive, those types of things, 2 to 3 minutes more often versus that big, long session. Build up to that. Who else is here? Tamara says, hello, everyone. Hello back. I have severe lymphedema in my legs. Would love to add a vibration plate to my routine. It's awesome for the legs. The legs get a little bit more action seated, of course. But as I said, depending on range of motion and tolerance, there are ways, even if you're doing movements on your own, to get that upper body going. It is a total thing. For those of you that are dealing with severe lymphatic issues, compromised lymphatics, reminder. And every time I say that, there's still people that have been, what? I've never heard of this, including me until about a year or two ago. Do that prep work. You know, I work with a lot of amazing certified lymphatic therapists, massage therapists that know when you move lymph moves. So if you're going to get on a vibration plate and you're going to overdo it, you're going to pay for it. If you don't have a properly functioning, healthy lymphatic system, another reason to keep those sessions short, keep yourself hydrated, all the other common sense stuff, but do some prep work. Get the body ready for the turbo blast surge of circulation and lymph, and for any activities for that matter. So if you're going to go for a big walk, you're going to go to the pool, you do other things, even if you're going for a massage, a lot of times they'll encourage or do a little bit of prep work just to get those general areas prepped. There's lots of different versions out there. I've got a couple of my own that have been contributed to my groups. But it's something to be mindful of, especially on those lymphatic concerns. This will all be recorded, Lynn. So as long as you make a comment during the live, during one of the recordings, you will be entered for the machine draw if you are in Canada or the US. To be entered for the free training session with me, the virtual training session, you must comment, and I will announce that at the end of the live. In a couple minutes when I'm done questions, I will say we're not taking any more comments for the session giveaway. I'll let you know when that happens. Carol Brown, hello, how are you? Hello, Mary. Beth says, okay, hang on, I scrolled here accidentally. Let me back up just a minute. There's a few of you here. Monica, I'm here. Okay. Hello, Lynn. It will be all recorded. Carol, I missed a portion, so we'll catch all entirely for sure. Thank you for commenting. Nice to see you. Hello, Lynn. Yes, it will be recorded. Once I finish the live, like while I'm streaming live, you can't rewind and go back. But once the live is done and wrapped, which I will be done here in about 12 minutes total, I have a half-hour break between sessions so I can get more caffeine and you can go take a pee break from all the shaking. But then you can play it on a recorded basis once the live feed has ended. We are still live. Carol Brown says, yes, I will be viewing afterwards. Lynn says, thanks. Lynn says, Spinergy looks amazing. I know. I got a few deliveries yesterday, including some really cool new seated ellipticals. And something else that's actually not a Life Pro product I want to talk about as well, because it goes so well with the gun. This happened to me the other day. I have a few different Life Pro products. And I'm having one of those fall cleaning sessions where I have a box of like all my charge cords. I don't know where it is, but I do have one. So I have many of my guns out on loan with clients. And the last week I've been running around with my charge cord on my visits, charging up their guns. So I thought this is ridiculous. And I have a couple of different battery packs, but then I got to carry all the cords that go with the battery packs, which of course are packed somewhere. So I have a retailer on Amazon in the US and in Canada that was kind enough. You know what? They reached out to me a couple weeks ago. They sent me an email and said, would you be interested in this? And I just thought, you know what? How did you read my brain? Because I more and more with the guns, some of the light belts, I am using battery packs. And I got kids and a cell phone like everybody else. I will not pronounce this properly, but it's called a VIBRATHON. It's available in both Canada and the US. Anyone looking at me retailing your products or you wanting me to do a demo, I'm happy to do that. But I do prefer items that are available both in Canada and the US because I've got a lot of people I appeal to in both. So this one's a little bit different. It's got 4 different charge ends. So you can see, and I know I'm going to botch this, but it's got your iOS end. It's got your standard USB. It's got the new micro. And then in here, it's got the old, it's got one more. That standard end that works on my, so I've got, instead of me having to pack all these different cords or a multi-cord, this is the 10,000, the size is 10,000. They've got one that's as big as 25,000. But this is awesome. I've been using this with my iPad, my cell phone. It's a little bit of a longer charge time. I would say probably a good hour, hour and a half. I found it took to charge, but it's very ample in storage capacity. And what I like about it is, other than the display, which I'll show you right now. Okay. There's not a whole bunch of lights, and I find sometimes with these devices, there's so many things on it that it drains part of the battery. So all that this is using for battery is the display. There's no lights. There's not a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's holding a very good charge. I plugged this back in. I took it with me to use to charge massage guns in some locations. And what I did is I plugged the USB in of the massage gun that I have, and most of mine have that little pin but this was awesome, and it's under $30, and they both had discounts. So I was thank you for sending this to me, and I promised them that I would share that with my viewers today. And I think my kids are going to steal it from me here pretty quick. Okay, so let's get back to who needs a vibration plate. Hello, Mary, nice to see you. Karoko says, I like a vibration plate for circulation and muscle strength. Beth wants it for bone density. Lynn's asking, how much are they? I'm not sure what you're referring to. If you're not talking about that gun, it's ridiculously inexpensive right now. I'm going to grab, I think I had the link here. Did I not? I do not. But it's just come into stock on Life Pro. See a whole bunch of lives on it. It is available on Amazon yet, but I have everything comes up in Canadian, but it was well under $100 with their discount. And like I say, if you use my code, you're going to, I'm just gonna, it's just a new product. I just dropped the link in the field there, Lynn. If you're talking about the vibration plate, the one that I'm using is different than the one I'm giving away today. The Hexaplate Lite is under the compact models, and it's well below $150. There's a slightly larger model, but the Hexaplate Lite is one of the smallest. I believe it's about 11.5 pounds. It does have the bumps, so I primarily prefer it as a seated use machine. The bumps can kind of dig into the feet. And a smaller, more compact plate can be a little tippy, a little light if you're looking at doing a lot of standing or fitness type applications. So there's never the perfect plate for every application. It really depends on your body type, what you're using it for. Are you doing dynamic movement on it? Do you want to add weights? Do you want to put it in the RV, or do you want to put it in the gym? So it really depends on what you plan on using it for. And it's a common reason some people have 2 or 3 plates. They got a little one, at the office, and the big one in the workout room. And then you got another little compact beside the bed to hit it for that restless leg and constipation before you go to sleep. Okay, so Mary says, I appreciate all of your videos. You want to use it for lymphatic drainage and bone strength. And because you've been following me a while, Mary, you don't have to do different things. Anytime you're on the plate, you're getting that added lymph and circulation. But if you want to increase bone density, consistently doing weight bearing, and if you're willing to do things that challenge those bones, do moves, add weight, require them to do more, and they will return the favor with more bone density. Hello, Carol. Hexaplate Lite. I went big and purchased the Rumblex 4D. Nice. I really like it and trust with consistent use, I'll see the benefit over the months. The portability of the Hexaplate is appealing. I'm 72. There's always a way, Carol. That big bad Rumblex 4D should have some wheels on the side. If you've got an older model, or like me, you moved it around and broke off a couple wheels a couple times, mine doesn't roll so good. But for those of you that are dealing with mobility issues, as long as you're feeling comfortable and stable and you've been using your plate a little while, grab a little, piece of rug from the Dollarama stores or the dollar stores and put it carpet side down. Put the plate on the underside, the sticky side, and drag it on the rug. That's another way to get it around. I've sit on the floor and drug 300-pound medical grade because I had to do it right now. I didn't have the patience to organize the help. So, do how you have to, and make sure, be careful getting back up off the ground. Beth says, I'm 68 and also have sleep issues. I've heard from a seated session an hour before bed can be helpful. Try it an hour before bed. I've got some people that can do a full workout before bed and sleep like a baby. But for some, if you do a little bit too much too soon, you might get exhilarated. For those of you that are dealing with lymphatic issues, sometimes you feel things are still moving, like a crawly, creepily, tingly session in the legs. You feel that flow. There's all kinds of new user things. I do have a number of videos that would be a 2-day session in itself, but you may also feel a common tingle or an itch that goes away within a week or two of getting started. If it is severe, you may be dealing with MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome, or other conditions where cells get overactive and they react. So too much of a good thing, as good as it feels when you're on that machine and things start moving, please, regardless of who you are and what deficiency you're dealing with, be conservative, 2 to 3 minutes more often, see how you feel. And the same goes for bed. So you probably could try it about 10-15 minutes before bed, but keep it brief, 2 to 3 minutes, faster speed, close feet. Try to do things that engage. If you're dealing with something like restless leg, there might be certain areas of the body, like the quads, maybe one little squat for 5-10 seconds just to fire up those quads and get them a little bit more fired up is a great way to get relief. If there's any stretches or exercises or things you're supposed to be doing now for the conditions you're dealing with, for the rehab that you're dealing with, the plate is a perfect environment to facilitate more benefit in less time. You sometimes need to get creative with the positions, but regardless of where you're at in your health journey, regardless of where you may be at in your short-term surgery or injury situation, a lot of people are looking to me for a blanket yes or no answer or a specific number to fix some miracle thing on your body. And it's just not that simple. If you and I were to go to the gym and we decided we were going to use treadmills as a way to improve our cardiovascular health, maybe lose some weight, how long are we supposed to run for? What speed? What incline? Would we be doing the exact same thing? No, it would probably be different based on our individual bodies, our level of health, our tolerance, my bad knee, my bad attitude. So there's a lot of variances. All a vibration plate is a tool. And sometimes all that marketing, the whole industry is like, this is better and that's faster and this is more. And nobody really understands how they work. I have just as many manufacturers contact me on what they should be doing for specs. Don't you know? Because you're the one making the machine already. There's a lot of companies that reach out to me for specs validation, and you should already know what those values are. So no wonder we're confused in the marketing. So you're always in control. There is no best setting. There is no best plate. I recommend oscillating movement as the bare minimum starting point and keep it simple. If you're not a big exercise guru right now, don't worry about all the extra bells and whistles. Oscillating movement is the one movement I recommend for most applications. If you do decide to step up to something with more features and benefits, the more features, the more benefits, the more motors, the more housing, the more components. So the larger plates that have more movements, more features, they have to be bigger and they will be heavier and less portable. The littler itty bitty models, you're never going to get all the features nor the performance that you do in a larger plate because it simply defies the laws of physics. The littler it is, the less likely it's going to be able to long term be that, it's not going to be the neuropathy machine that you use seated in your rocking chair and then grow with you to be the triathlon machine. Sometimes you need different machines based on how your training and your improvements go. And I hope with consistent use, that's a lesson you're going to learn on your own. Start with what the budget allows, even if it's the littlest one, because you're still going to get a bazillion more benefits than doing nothing at all with a vibration plate. But you may see over time, if the goals are fitness, you're a taller user, you plan to add weights, there's things you want to progress with. You may want to look at the waiver or the mini because they're going to give you a little bit more mass, a little bit more surface to work with. And the bigger and the wider a machine gets, the more applicable and appropriate is for the fitness levels and those of you in the training mode. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense too. Carol is, no, Beth says compact models for, I have a special needs for and vibration plate page as well. And a lot of my littles are having fun with some of these little plates. Carol has Parkinson's, is using her Rumblex for neuropathy and balance. So using both multiple times a day. That's awesome. Parkinson's, get some detox going on too, girl. Vibration plate helps ramp up detoxification. It's moving lymph and circulation. So make sure you're supporting it with, at the bare minimum, hydration. But maybe you want to talk to a local nutritionist or your health food store, maybe some binders if there's something that you're looking at expediting and ramping up a vibration plate, and the movement that it offers, especially if you're in a digressed state of health where traditional exercise just isn't something you can tolerate. It's an awesome way. I'm giving you the hint there with Parkinson's, but ramp up that detoxification. And yeah, anytime you feel other symptoms, whether it's balance, you're unstable, you're weak, you need energy, range of motion isn't there, you're going to do other activities. Maybe you're just trying to get to a doctor's appointment. A couple minutes on your plate before you head out the door and when you get home is just the best way to complement life. And sometimes life gets in the way, and I don't want anybody beating themselves up because I didn't do my 10, 15 minutes today, or I didn't do my routine. It's more important that, it's those times when you have digressed and you're experiencing symptoms are heightened, that you need to remember that symptom management tool is right there. And if all you're able to squeeze in is 2 to 5 minutes to just move and feel or sleep better, it's doing its job tenfold. The rest will come when you're moving and feeling better. So remember, you're only limited by your imagination and your range of motion. I'm going to drop some links once I get off of this, just to let you guys know where to find things, that new gun. And the next session is scheduled to start here in just under 25 minutes. So I look forward to seeing those of you that are jarting me for part 2 on the seated session. Last comment, AM says, that's a great idea. Thank you. I have multiple sclerosis and try to use my plate twice a day. I do add it to my stretches. Lots of research out there on the multiple sclerosis, the Parkinson's. The hard part is sometimes interpreting the research and, how do I set my machine for, don't think of it this or that or way. Most of the machines being sold mass market do not do what the medical research machines do. But you know what? I've been at this 20 years almost, and Life Pro's got lots of people, and both of my pages have people, and my medical groups have people. And do you think they're all following the protocol to the T? No, the more you play with this, the more you just learn what you like. And is it the vibration plate, or is it the fact that, more people are getting active more regularly and enjoying it using a vibration plate than traditional activities? I think it's a combination of both. For those of you that are the sciencey types out there, a vibration plate superficially increases your exposure to gravity. That's really what they do through the combination of the settings. So look into the benefits of gravity, and you'll see a long list of associated benefits, very similar to what you see in vibration plates market for. Yes, you can go ahead. Yeah, wrap that up. Give me 2 more minutes and my daughter's going to text me a name here, and I'll let you know who is the lucky winner of the session. When I do announce the winner, I'm cutting comments off. Anyone after A&M Fraser no longer can enter for the session because I'm doing the draw right now. But anyone wanting to enter for the larger giveaway, the draw tomorrow evening for the Hexaplate Light Vibration Plate, if you're watching this now or on a recorded basis, please make a comment to be entered for the giveaway. And you must be a resident of Canada or US and receive delivery in one of those countries to win. So, here, let me see. I know I'm going to say this wrong. Yeah. Okay. Tamira, are you still here with me? If you are, please make a comment. You are the winner for this session of a virtual vibration plate training session with me. I'm not sure where you're located, but if you could please send me a personal message through Facebook. I need some information from you, and I'd like to connect with your email address if possible. So we can set up a time to have a training session. If you do not currently own a vibration plate, we are still welcome to have a chat. and discuss. Maybe you have some questions, or if you'd rather wait, you don't have to use this today. But if you are Tamara, if you do not have a vibration plate and you'd like to save the session for when we do, or when you do have a machine, I'm flexible either way. So energy to Mexico. Marcel, it's a brand new product, so maybe wait and see, and perhaps reach out to Life Pro directly on Monday. Maybe there's a way that they can arrange to have that shipped to you through different channels. But it did literally just hit the website on Friday, so it's not on Amazon yet. It's not available in Canada either. But I think you're going to see this be something that's going to be in huge demand. So again, my winner, Tamira, I think I'm saying your name right. I scrolled down again. Where's Tamira? Tamira, you won the session with me. So please let me know, reach out and send me a message. And Tamira, I think I just said that right. You are the session winner. Okay. And on that, I am going to go get a warm coffee. I'm going to see you guys back here in 20 minutes. Just over 20 minutes. Okay. I'm just trying to send Tamira a message while I'm here. You might not be here still. Regardless, Tamara, you are the winner of the session giveaway for this round. I will be doing more session giveaways, 2 more to go. One coming up in the seated, and one as well in the advanced session later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to be entered for the machine giveaway, get your comment in. Doesn't matter if it's live or recorded. Let me know why you should be the winner of a Life Pro Hexaplate Lite. And if you do not have a YouTube account and you have no way of making a comment, please, as a last resort, vibehealer@gmail.com is a place you can get a message out to me. I will see you guys in about 20 minutes.